So in this session we're going to generate a statement of advice. So I'm in the report settings section. The first thing I need to do is I need to generate a report, and my default setting is on the heat map research report. I can change that in the settings, or I can choose a different option if I wanted to over here. So I generate the report, and this might take a few moments. And what is important is that I have to generate at least one report. Now, you're probably quite familiar with the research reports, and most advisors would download a copy of this and save that as part of their research reports or part of their advice files that they provide to their clients. Now, when you generate a statement of advice, you do not need to do this. You just need to generate it. We don't need to download it. So I'm just going to close that because I know that that report has now been generated. All the research reports that Quality Product Research provides are in a PDF format because that is our independent research to you as the advisor to use in your practice or to use with your clients. With the statement of advice is produced in a Microsoft Word format. And the reason it's produced in Microsoft Word is that it allows you to go through and edit the final version and make changes as necessary. So to generate an SOA, I have to click on the generate the statement of advice, and I have to recommend an insurance company. And in this case, let's take for example Astron Life. And if there's replacement business involved, and in this example we said we're going to replace the insurance cover with Countdown Live, so I'm going to tick on that box, and that will include a page or include a section on the risks that the client should be aware of in terms of replacement business. And here I can add more reports. Now these reports are included as appendices in the back of the statement of advice, so it provides a link for the client to be able to click on that link or copy and paste that link into a browser and to open up those reports. So I can add multiple reports that I've created. So I can include the full report that I've just quoted over here on the left hand side, and if for example I've done some head-to-head reports, I can open that up and I can decide, yep, I'm going to include that particular report and I'm not going to include that particular report. Click Save and Close. And this shows me a list of the reports that are going to be included in the appendices, and then I need to click on Generate the Statement of Advice. Now it can take a few moments for it to generate. What I would say is don't look at this version because you'll see over here the information is a bit screwed up. What you have to do is you have to generate this as a Word document. So we click on the download button, and this will open up a new tab, or this will open up a new section which you will need to open up as a Microsoft Word. And I'm just going to open up this Word document. And before we get stuck into the Word document, there are a couple things that you need to be aware of. So firstly, this is a Microsoft Word, and within this document everything you can basically customize to your business, and you can personalize this advice to your customers. So the first thing we need to do is we have to enable editing, and this allows us to make some changes in the document. When I enable editing, it's just going to ask me permission to be able to update the fields in this document. And the reason we need to update the fields is that our table of contents has dynamic page numbering, which means that if I enter more information or if I remove information, the page numbering is automatically redone. So this is my statement of advice, and like I said, everything here is customizable, so you can put your own company logo, you can put your own photo, and you can put whatever details that you wanted to in this particular document. So we start off, that's the cover page. This is our title page, who this document is produced for, who this document has been produced by. It has my FSP details, for example, information about what this document is about us, meaning about the advisor, some useful resources, and here's our table of contents with the page numbering automatically updating. This goes through and explains the 6-step financial advice process that you follow. The nature and the scope of the advice, so there was a list of our objectives, and here's our priority and scope of service that we indicated early on. We have some items that we've indicated in red, and we think that these are important, that your clients should be well aware of. These are critical, things like the importance of disclosure, the importance that they should read the replacement of business disclosure. And you'll see further information about you, about the client, about the existing policies or cover that they've got in place, research and analysis. So these sections that are highlighted in yellow, these are fields that you will want to set up in your settings fields or your settings section, and please have a look at our video on how to do this. And what you would need to do, for example here, how I'm trained. So you might put something like, I have completed my New Zealand Certificate in Financial Services Level 5 version 2, and that information will be in here, and so that once it's in the settings, every time you run this report, that information is included in your statement of advice automatically. So here's our recommendation and rationale. So firstly, we start off with the insurance needs for Jack. So in terms of life cover, we are recommending this amount of life cover. We worked out the $913,000 worth of life cover based on this information here. So it clearly explains how we calculated this information. We've got some product option recommendations, and then we move to trauma recommendations, TPD, income protection, and so on. And then we're going to move to client 2, and we're going to look at their life insurance recommendations, how much cover we are recommending, and likewise with trauma, TPD, and so on. We then move to our product provider options, and again I'm going to refer back to our video on how to set this up. So you would, for example, include the list of companies that you are able to give advice on, the companies that you have agencies with, how you select those companies, if there's been any changes in terms of the nature of advice that you've provided to your client. And here's our one-page replacement business disclosure. So see, these are some of the risks that your clients should be well aware of. And again, we put this warning box in here just to remind your clients of the importance. And this is our recommendation. This is what we believe you should do. Our preference in this example is to recommend Astron Life because, and again, you would enter some reasons into why you've recommended Astron Life. It might be around the quality of the product. It might be around the pricing of the contract. It might be around underwriting issues, maybe issues to do with existing cover. Whatever it may be, you should list the reasons why you're recommending a particular insurer in this example. And you will see in this quote, it is pulled through the quote for Astron Life, and because Astron doesn't offer health cover, it's pulled through a quote in terms of NIB, in terms of the health cover. So that's for him, that's for her. This is your recommended, this is the premium based on the recommended amount of cover. Here we have the commission section. It pulls through the commission rates, and I'll show you in our settings video how we do that. We cover fees and expenses, conflicts of interest and incentives, our complaints process, dispute resolution process, the advisor contact details, and then we have an authority to proceed. So your client can go through this list, make sure that they're aware of all those particular aspects. The clients can then sign off. Here's our next steps or our implementation sections. So we might have recommended a significant amount of cover at a reasonable premium. Your client might not be able to your client might not be able to proceed with all that. So in this section here, we've left it blank, and this is probably where you would enter some details as to explain why there's been a change in your recommendations. So what I've highlighted in this blue color, for example, is what I've actually typed up myself. So in this particular case, I've said under variations to recommendations, you've decided at this stage just to proceed with life cover of $500,000 each with accelerated trauma of $200,000 each. You will leave the rest for now, which includes TPD, etc. Put some comments. We've agreed to review this in 3 months as Jack is expected to change employment and receive a pay increase. And here we have a little table with our benefits, our sums insured, and maybe just a simple explanation as to why this has differed from our recommendation. So $500,000 life, we've reduced the cover to fit your current budget. In terms of trauma, we've reduced the cover to fit your current budget, but we've also changed standalone cover to accelerated cover just to minimize your premiums. And then we move on to the next section, which is your appendices. So here we list the financial details that we've collected off the client. The next appendix, we have a detailed breakdown of their insurance needs. So for both clients, we've indicated how we calculated their life insurance needs, and again their trauma, TPD, etc. And in the appendix after that, we have links to our Quotemonster research report. So we can click on this link and open up the PDF of the research report that we've generated. If I've included the head-to-head, so I have in this example, again I can open that up and have a look at the head-to-head reports. So that is our statement of advice. It will take you a few minutes to make those tweaks and changes to the final recommendation that you're making to your client. I'm going to show you in our next video how we set this up for your situation, for your business, and how you can personalize it for your organization. So please make sure you check out our next video or have a look through our library of other videos.